So last weekend, basically every single one of us thought that Dave Allen should have been given the decision against Johnny Fisher. And Big John, who's famous on TikTok for scoffing his face and being obese, Johnny Fisher's father, is literally having a massive meltdown all over social media, going on at Gareth A. Davis, saying how it's disgraceful that he's calling it a robbery and that he's not invited back into his house. I think it's kind of it could ruin Johnny Fisher's career. It really could. I mean, and it's a real bad look on Big John Fisher as well with everything that he's saying. Yeah, I don't think it's good for Johnny Fisher. And overall, I think Johnny Fisher has got a good mindset overall. I think he's got a good mindset of, staying composed and, having a good professional mindset. That's what Johnny Fisher's got. And Johnny Fisher is a good, honest guy, in my opinion. And, in his response to the fight, I think, he's handled it well. He's handled himself well in his response to the fight. And he's accepted that Dave Allen could have won the fight. But I think a big thing is, Big John Fisher's meltdown on social media. And I really don't think it's good for Johnny Fisher, because if, Big John's in his ear saying, you won that fight, who knows what it could do for Johnny Fisher. And it really, I know it could be bad for the ego of Johnny Fisher as well. It really could. It's not good whatsoever, in my opinion, with what Big John's doing. I mean, he can do what he wants. It's his son at the end of the day. But I'm just saying this could affect Johnny Fisher's career in a way. And as well, before I do get into everything that's been going on with Big John and Gareth A. Davis and stuff, I think with Johnny Fisher, he should have started off probably like on a smaller level shows than already fighting on a Riyadh season show and Matchroom shows. And I think this because Johnny Fisher hasn't had much amateur experience whatsoever. That's the big thing. And when you haven't really had much amateur experience, you're never really on, big stages like what Johnny Fisher has been so far in his career. You never really see that. But let's be real, the reason why Johnny Fisher is on these big stages is because, he's a guy who can market off of, his famous TikTok dad, Big John. So that's why Johnny Fisher's on these stages. And I don't think he's ready for it. And I was clear to see in his fight against Dave Allen, he's not at this level just yet and shouldn't be fighting on these shows just yet. He should have fought on the smaller hall shows and built himself up and not fighting in big crowds just yet and not fighting on a Riyadh season card and him being pushed forward too much. Because let's be real, though, Dave Allen's problem, as much as I like Dave Allen as well, right now, Dave Allen's probably English level at best. Dave Allen's not, a massive overall star who's, close to being a world champion at the end of the day. It's Dave Allen who, people have said who hasn't really been taking his fight seriously. And, he's admitted it himself. He's arrived in fights when he's not in shape and hasn't had the same motivation. Clearly he was more motivated for this one as well, though. So that's the difference. But still, he's not English level. And I think Johnny Fisher's been pushed a bit too far so far, but you've got Big John Fisher in his ear saying, you won that fight, you won your fight, you're better than what you are. And that's not what Johnny Fisher needs to be hearing. He needs to get back to that gym, sharpen up, and then that way Johnny Fisher could possibly get to where he wants to be. But I feel like all these comparisons with Moser Talma put them to bed on December 21st, and Dave Allen did as well. I just feel like all this noise around Johnny Fisher already with not much amateur experience isn't good. And Big John Fisher is not helping this out whatsoever. I mean, first of all, we're going to get onto this one. First of all, it looks encouraging overall after the fight. He's saying, you showed heart, he's giving Johnny credit after the fight, but he doesn't believe he won it though. But, you know, he's just trying to be encouraging. And, you know, it's like, you know, you're thinking, oh, that's good from Big John. He's, you know, trying to stay encouraging for him. And that way he can try and build himself back up if he's honest with him. And that's what it looks like in this video. He said, I thought you nicked it. So it's like, oh, he's going to go back and watch it back with Johnny Fisher. And they're going to, and, you know, he's going to try and get Johnny and his team, of course, to work on a few things with him. I don't know why I'm speaking like John Fisher's part of his team. He's not. But no, I'm just saying, you know, as his dad, he's going to be a guy he's going to be around Johnny Fisher a lot, of course. But, you know, that video is pretty encouraging if we're being real. It is encouraging. But this one, I mean, it's not at all, is it? I'm a bit too far.
Why you and Spencer went over the top? I thought you were serious, Joe. They won the fight. I expect anyone's opinion who thought they won the fight.
Okay, so there you think, oh, well, that's all right there.
But the way you and Spencer went over the top.
They didn't go over the top, though. At the end of the day, Gareth A. Davis was just doing his job, didn't go over the top whatsoever. You know, he's trying to get the headlines. And second of all, his opinion's bloody right. Literally 98% of people believe Gareth A. Davis' opinion's right. And not many people like Gareth A. Davis at all. And the amount of support he's got on this video is unreal compared to what Big John's got. Big John really made a big fool of himself here.
I thought you were serious journalist. You showed how incapable you are of actually reporting.
That's not true, though. That's not true. Gareth A. Davis is giving his opinion as a journalist on the fight. It's his job to do that. If he thinks that Dave Allen got robbed like many other people do, that is right. Even if it was close, which it was, but the reason why it is a robbery is because, as Carl Frampton said as well after the fight, you know, the rounds that Dave Allen won were very clear to see. Johnny Fisher wasn't overly massively convincing like Dave Allen was in the rounds he won, in any rounds he won. And also, Johnny Fisher got dropped in the fight as well. And you can't give Johnny Fisher any more than 5 rounds. You can't. And that's the same as mine and many other people's opinion. You can't give Johnny Fisher more than 5 rounds. You give Dave Allen 5 rounds. And Dave Allen also got the knockdown over Johnny Fisher. Dave Allen wins the fight. There's no way you can have Johnny Fisher winning that fight.
Sorry?
Johnny win that fight.
He won the fight, yeah.
And again, this is not good. He won the fight. Like, no. You can't be putting this in his ear. It was not a good up to standard performance from Johnny Fisher. You know. Oh, he got given the decision, but he shouldn't have. And either way, you need to say it's not a good performance from him. At least say, you know, he won the fight, but, you know, clearly he needs to try and sharpen up on a few things to get to where he needs to be and where we believe he can be. But this is not anything we're hearing from Big John at all. It's him in denial about what happened. And, yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, I watched it back. He won round 1 to 4, round 10, and round 7.
You can't give him round 7. You can't give him you can't give Johnny Fisher any more rounds than you know, rounds 1 to 4 and 10. You can't give him any more rounds than that. And you know, either way though, you never know. Dave could have net one of the first 4. He could have.
You could have called it to Johnny. So for you to say it was a robbery and disgusting,
I said,
you was well in my house before. You'll never be welcome.
Just because of his opinion on a fight. Gareth A. Davis was doing his job. I just feel like Big John's embarrassing himself. And if Johnny Fisher has all this in his ear, it's not good. And, you know, very clearly, I mean, you know, people might say, oh, well, they might be doing stuff, saying stuff behind the scenes like that was not good enough. But that's not what we're seeing in this video at all with the attitude that Big John is giving it and how he's approached it. That is not what we're seeing here in this video with Gareth A. Davis. It's someone who's in denial and someone who can't accept, you know, where Johnny Fisher really is right now in his career.
Again, because an utter disgrace, right? And I'll tell you to your face.
What was a disgrace was the bloody decision. That's the disgrace. But yeah, anyway, let's see what's next for Johnny Fisher. Might be the rematch, but who knows if that's even the right fight for him. I don't know. But let's hope he's sharpened up in his next one. Let's see what happens. Anyway, thanks for watching.